celebrating 17 years of Young Turks.
As digital payments in India continue to surge and as UPI crosses ₹1 trillion worth of monthly transactions, among the leaders in this space is PhonePe. Founded in 2015 by two former Flipkart employees Sameer Nigam and Rahul Chari, PhonePe, a payments company, was bought out by Flipkart in April 2016. What started as an interbank payment solution turned into a UPI pioneer, rode the demonetization wave, and now they have plans to become a super app for payment transactions of all sorts. We caught up with CEO Sameer Nigam in Bengaluru and began by asking him how this 3-year-old startup is dealing with adulting so soon.
In 2016, once it launched, demonetization happened a couple of months later, and I think the government gave a big boost. The big need at that time, given the cash liquidity crunch, was the ability to just transfer money. And so the P2P use case that UPI provided just sort of, I think, captured everyone's imagination. So I think in a span of about 6 to 7 months, we saw almost 25-30 million bank accounts getting linked on UPI, which was tremendous. From there, then the standard sort of wallet-based use cases of recharge, bill pay, and utilities came along. That was most of 2017. We took the lead in actually building out solutions like customized SDKs for large online players. So we started seeing a lot of online merchant traffic in 2017, second half. 2018, the biggest investment has been in the offline market for us, especially around sort of the Kirana networks and the city level key accounts, because we fundamentally believe that for digital payments to become a way of life, transit, fuel, Kirana shops, grocery stores, all of these need to get connected through the digital economy, much like China. And UPI is sort of, I think, penetration-wise, the QR code is starting to capture the imagination of the mid-market, even the small shops. And I think 2019 is going to be the sort of coming out party for UPI as a domestic network, because it's the holy grail. It's online payments, peer-to-peer payments, and offline payments all combined in one.
Right. So could you just give us a quick run through on PhonePe's numbers in terms of your monthly active users, what kind of UPI transactions you're seeing, how many offline merchants, and a breakup also between online and offline for you?
PhonePe right now gets about 50 million monthly active users on the platform. They're doing a little over 2.25 million, so about 225 million transactions a month. We contribute to about 1/3 of the transactions on UPI as a network. We contribute to a little more than that in terms of the total volume of or value of money processed. Our ticket sizes are higher because it started as a bank-to-bank app, not really a wallet app that's pivoting. I think the ticket size will come down as you penetrate sort of the smaller ticket use cases of transit and Kirana shops, and that's a healthy thing. Today it's nearly 2,000 rupees per transaction. We'd like that to come down to 300-400 rupees in the next 3 years. Because that's when you know that you're getting very high volumes at low value. That's how an average Indian behaves in the market. Online plus in-app, all the categories we have combines for a little north of, I'd say, about 75-80 million transactions by itself. Okay. Offline is growing exponentially for us. Offline was marginal a year ago, is growing by about 200% month over month. We are adding almost 6 to 7 lakh merchants every month in India right now across 70 cities. That's the most exciting one.
And about your POS machines, that's the distribution of the POS machines.
So the POS machine, if you remember, when we launched the POS, we said this is an alternative for the mid-market that doesn't want to invest in $100 terminals. That pilot, when we launched it, we started out with IOCL. The POS is penetrating well in the fuel segment. We've kept it away from the Kirana segment for right now. In the Kirana segment, what we're finding is we first need to educate them on digital payments. Within that, we're giving priority to UPI, just given the lower MDR structure, real-time settlements. So we're using the QR model. We'll look at whether to penetrate with the POS device in 2020 again. This year, the objective is to get as many million Indian merchants connected to PhonePe and to the larger UPI economy as possible.
And while payments has been the core business for PhonePe, the margins are typically very low. And you recently launched your wealth services. Do you see the larger part of revenues coming from there going forward?
Actually, even within sort of payments, our vision statement has always been to create India's largest transaction platform. It's anchored on payments. Payments is not or never was the core business model in terms of MDR. But when you're connecting millions of merchants to 150 million users, there are many other methods of actually monetizing that relationship. So standalone, we believe that equation between merchants and consumers, and even banks who want to actually incentivize consumers to actually use their instruments, I think that should break even and be positive margin generating in the next sort of 3 to 4 years by itself. The entry into wealth management is for a different reason. We believe categories like insurance, mutual funds, they're highly underpenetrated for a market like India. In fact, I think in mutual funds, if you see the average sort of deposits by an Indian, it's one of the lowest in terms of developed markets in the world. And part of it has to do with the fact that education isn't sufficient. Part of it has to do with things like KYC not being easy and intuitive enough, reach of the AMCs to the end consumer. There's a big gap between where the distributors can physically reach and where the market is at today. So the role PhonePe is going to be playing in those categories is more in terms of sort of helping the BFSI industry partners who are still going to be underwriting. We're not going to be building books. We want to help them understand how millennials purchase items today, how to reach them, how to distribute and market to them, how to educate them. So our role is on the distribution side, and I think that's where we sort of believe our core strengths lie.
Right. And, you've started this apps feature on the app, and you're integrating so many merchants and so on. What kind of traction are you seeing? And, eventually, are you looking to be a super app of sorts?
I think if you see the app today, we can probably already claim to be a super app because we've got 150 billers and recharge partners. You got every bank for peer-to-peer payments. We've got 2 million stores that are digitized and listed for store discovery. If you go on the stores tab, you can get the live contact number for all our merchants. You can call ahead and ask them whether they provide a particular service, whether the store is open. Apps was again designed as a platform where we believe so many nascent startups in India who are predominantly online are not able to connect to the 100, 200, 300 million connected users because the cost of app installs is just prohibitive. If you have to spend $2, $3, $4 acquiring a user on an app and the uninstall rates remain 60, 70, 80%. So we are giving a platform for any Indian startup to announce itself, and these are progressive web apps, so they're building to our platform specs. You can be live in front of 150 million people overnight. And
it is said that every consumer tech company will eventually become a lending company. Where is PhonePe on that journey?
We are sitting that one out at least this year.
Okay.
We have no lending ambitions at this point. I think it's fair to say that just like we partner with multiple wallets, so PhonePe as a container, besides the PhonePe wallet, also has multiple other wallets that are linked in. We see credit as a source of funds. So at some point, we will actually open up the PhonePe platform to third-party lenders. If somebody is willing to give you a credit line, we see no distinction between a credit card or a Lazy Pay or a Zest Money or an Ola Credit or a Flipkart Buy Now Pay Later. So we'll open that up. So whatever your sort of available source of funds, we want to make sure the Indian consumer can use that through PhonePe as a platform wherever you go. So again, it's more about distributing the loans than actually manufacturing the loans.
But you wouldn't look at leveraging, the NBFC license that Flipkart also looks to get now?
See, I think Flipkart has evolved its model over the last couple of years to a point where they feel comfortable that they can underwrite to millions of people. So within the group, does it make sense for two parties to underwrite? Today, we feel that they have a head start, and we'd rather be distributing their loans to our consumers if they can make that happen.
Will we see any kind of integration between PhonePe and Flipkart in terms of your fintech solutions, or will you operate completely separately?
No, actually, if you think about it, right, when PhonePe launched, we didn't just launch UPI. We actually converted the FX Smart wallet, and that became the PhonePe wallet. So Flipkart's entire sort of cancellations, refunds, all of those flow through that wallet. We're deeply integrated on all the PG solutions, both with Flipkart and Myntra and Jabong. So on the payment side, the integration's actually been very deep. We don't duplicate effort. As I said, Buy Now, Pay Later, which is an offering from Flipkart, you will soon see that on PhonePe. We will want to actually become a vehicle for them to not just issue more loans to people. We want to be a vehicle by which a customer who's got a Buy Now, Pay Later line from Flipkart should be able to actually spend that currency everywhere you go.
PhonePe was acquired by Flipkart in 2016 and is now owned by Walmart after the Bentonville giant acquired Flipkart last year. The Walmart leadership has frequently cited PhonePe as a key attraction for the acquisition and valued the company at $1.5 billion at the time of acquisition. Walmart also has plans to take PhonePe international. We asked Sameer what it's like to have Walmart in their corner of the ring.
I think first clear advantage is having a single sort of long-term strategic partner, which means that we have capital stability, we have sort of continuity there. So I think that's a big plus for us, especially at an early stage. Just having somebody with Walmart's context globally, their network, their resources, all of that helps. We're a 3-year-old startup that's achieved scale that's typical of a 7, 8, 10-year-old startup, and our systems need to mature accordingly. And I think that's one area where they've definitely brought in a lot of sort of good governance for us. Strategically, Walmart is excited about what PhonePe can do, and I think there's opportunities that will open up down the line, whether it's going international. We've said this before, I think for the next 3 years, we focus only on India. Okay. I think it's too early. We're too small a team to think about going international, but I think at some point, if the opportunity presents itself, Walmart has a global network, which is again very, very exciting. We just did an integration with all the best price stores in India. They have 1.2 million Kirana stores in India that are already sort of impaneled. So to be able to connect them, to be able to actually help sort of build that ecosystem where all these small businesses are getting replenishment through Kirana, from best price stores, using PhonePe for the payments, that kind of activity is really exciting for us.
And what kind of infusion came into PhonePe, you know, from Walmart after the whole deal? And I think the valuation at that time for PhonePe was about 1.5 billion. Where is PhonePe right now? I
think what is true is that the business itself, all the core metrics have grown about 350% in the year, last year, just from March to March. And with that, I think there's a lot of excitement in the market. In terms of the infusion, we'd said in, I think, late 2017 that the board had approved a $500 million infusion over tranches. So Walmart's come in around August, and the final infusion sort of has come in for that this year. So another about $250 to $300 million committed for the year. And so
basically your capital is kind of being directed into all these, you know, new features that you're adding to the app and so on. Is that where the capital is being deployed?
Other than the offline fleet for acquiring merchants, which we've now got thousands of people on the ground just going into the heartland, we always said we will stay very asset light. So we will never enter a category, which is why the investment is going to things like opening up the apps platform. We want to get 5,000 partners there. We don't want to have just 25. People should be able to spend their money either through the PhonePe app or at these outlets. And that's where most of the investment is going. It's just into expanding the ecosystem. The next sort of investments will go, or resources will go into the financial service categories, where we want to build a bunch of products.
And lastly, Sameer, what is PhonePe's vision for 2019 in terms of the transactions and the number of customers that you look to reach?
We see 2019 as the year we lay out the entire offline network. That's one big target. So we're adding, as I said, about 6 to 7 lakh merchants every month. We want to close the year at about 7 million merchants. That would be very, very important. The second big target for us is to make sure that the number of categories in which customers are transacting increases rapidly, which is why the second target is around 5,000 mini apps. We really want to open that platform up. We've seen tremendous success in that model in China, with Tencent having crossed now over 1 million mini apps. So we want to do that. I think for us, it's about expanding access to use cases for merchants. That's basically what the key focus for the year is. The second is going to be the launch of categories in the wealth management section, area, mutual funds and insurance, which will roll out over the course of the year. Again, we won't roll out every type of product. We won't partner with every MC. These are going to be early pilots, assess out the market, iterate. We kind of enter markets slowly, like with apps last year. When we launched with Ola as a launch partner, we didn't add anybody else for the next quarter. Then we added, I think, Go IBP for another quarter. And then in the last quarter, we added 25 because the platform is now self-serve. So similarly with financial services, we'll invest behind it, but to try and first find the product market match. And then we'll scale it.